Okay. The sound check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hard to clap. Testing. 1, 2, 3. What's happening, party people? What's up? I'm here just to talk about a little game that I enjoy. I want to shout out a little game for you guys. The game is War for the Overworld. If any of you like RTS games, this might be for you. I didn't know this game existed before looking for a sort of dungeon management sort of game. I assumed that sort of like dungeons was the only thing out there, which is what I sort of played at first. I'm to believe that if you've ever played Dungeon Keeper, this game is sort of a homage to that. I can't speak on it personally because I haven't played it. To be honest, these guys might have... Bright Rock Games, by the way. Bright Rock Games are the guys that make War for the Overworld. They may have made Dungeon Keeper. I don't know. Here's the text saying if I'm right or wrong. But essentially what it is it's a RTS, like a real-time strategy, dungeon management game. You build up your dungeon in various types of rooms to lure creatures into the dark depths of your boding dungeon, and to which they should be doing your bidding. A caveat to it is you got to kind of keep them happy. You got to build the places for them. You've got to have a nice lair for them. You know, you've got to give them their food and such. But as long as you stay on top of that, they're happy enough. If you've got them in battle all the time, they'll start getting unhappy. So you got to, manage that a little bit. Things I like about this game: the charm. It oozes charm like a pestilent wound. It seeps out charm everywhere. Character of the game is amazing. From the narrator who gives you these sly, insulting quips every now and then to the little voice lines that you get from, your gnarlings or something like that. It's all very cutesy in a way, quite fantastical. The whole dungeon kind of feels like that as well. Everything has this sort of whimsical look about it, like everything's haphazardly put together, kind of goofily. To the point where it might even invoke some childlike wonder from reading an old fantasy novel or something like that. Not that I read, I wouldn't know. But yeah, your job in this dungeon is to lure certain creatures down there by giving them the right rooms and getting the right research to get them down there, and you've got to keep them fed and such. Yeah, the technology tree, man. It's a cool game. You don't play with factions, so you don't get your units that way. You get into the game and then you build what you want from there. So, if you want more beasts, then you build a beast den. If you want more gnarlings, you'd create a gnarling room. And you can unlock what you want as you go. You have these things called Veins of Evil at the top, which is your research points that you get. You can get more per turn if you've got a library and cultists working in there. Cultists are good for another thing. I'll bring up that in a minute. Yeah, you go through your research. For every 1 point you spend in any of the 3 trees, the middle tree gets like a half level done. The other ones only progress when you put a point directly into them, and they go for a full level each time you put a point in them. But like the right side of your tree is sort of like your fortifications, like walls or turrets, that sort of thing, and the left is more about like mystical constructs and spells and that sort of thing, though there is a bit of a mix match in between them. And then your middle is all your different like buildings and stuff you can get. Like you get your barracks for your gnarlings, you get your beast den upgrade so you can recruit a Bafu or Shadow, which are cool units. You can unlock the Foundry. I think that's actually on the right hand side because that's more to do with fortifications and such. You get the Chunder, who is a gross little creature. I hate farting noises, but he has that. He uses his head to hammer on an anvil to create you these little fortification pack things. I don't know what they're called, but they're what you use to build your turrets and such like that, and your gates and all those sort of things. So you do have to manage your economy somewhat. There is an economy to manage, and you've got a populace to keep happy. All the while, other underlords are scheming away. And how selfish of them. This is your land, to do with what you will, and they're just in the way. So obviously, the point of the game, RTS, you've got to go and destroy the enemy dungeon core. And it doesn't always go this way, but here's how it goes for me. I build up my base a little. I decide I've been too passive for too long. I send out a skirmish into enemy territory. Forget that they had their Archon building, their super unit. And then that gets released and I run away. I run away bravely to reconvene and recalculate, of course. Then I build up my empire. I build up my defensive capabilities. I'm a turtler. I do enjoy building like my base up the way I like it, which it's not optimal by any standards, but I don't really play PvP. I'll get to that later too. I like to build up my base, and then when it's finally like secure with a shit ton of overpowered turrets and stuff, that's when I go in. Or is it? Sometimes, if you're lucky, an enemy underlord will be engaged with another enemy underlord, depending how many players are in your match, I guess. And that's when you execute a very glorious genocidal flanking maneuver to hit them in the side where it really hurts. Like, give them a real jab. And then you take over you destroy their dungeon core, and then it doesn't claim the land when you destroy their dungeon core. Anyone can claim it, so be quick. You can use spells to increase how fast your workers are working, or you can do a ritual and you can increase the way they siege tiles and stuff like that. The game is about like land grabbing, so your workers not only build things for you, but they capture tiles and that lot, for which you can build on them. They're not the most courageous of units, so you've got to protect them while they do such a thing. On to the other elements of the game. I mean, there are spells and stuff you unlock, rituals, like I said, with cultists. You send them into the sanctuary, they perform the ritual, and when it's ready, you can enact it. And you can use that to, I don't know, like trade your current mana for money, or you can insta-upgrade all the walls in your base. Walls surrounding a room, by the way, increase its efficiency, so that's why you often see rooms as a 5x5. You often see the enemy AI doing that. There's constructs and stuff you can put down. Teleporters are a nice one. Turrets that weaken people, turrets that suck souls from nowhere and start unleashing them upon people. I love the Well of Souls, that's one of my favorite things. Like a Tesla tower type thing, that's pretty cool. You also get like alchemy. There's an alchemy lab where a little guy will come in and start brewing whatever you want for an amount of money, and you can use those to, I don't know, spawn like a Thunderling, which is a pretty powerful unit, but it does like lock an amount of your mana. Like a lot of like workers, turrets and all that sort of thing, they lock an amount of mana, so you can't use as many spells. So it kind of, it's kind of nice. It kind of balances it a bit. You can't have everything. And like I say, I like to play this game kind of chill. I'm not really one for playing PvP in real-time strategy games. I always remember one of the first times I tried PvP in an RTS, I was playing Command & Conquer Tiberium Wars 3, or it might have been Kane's Wrath, whichever. I was in my base doing my thing, building it up, and out of nowhere in the fog of war on the brim of my vision, I see an enemy power plant pop up, just about. What the fuck? The hell? And then another one inches closer, and then another one. All of a sudden, a couple of turrets spawn around, and a barracks pops up out of nowhere, and a small invasion force follows it. I had no time to react. It was a massacre. I tried to go in and destroy the thing before I realized what was going on. It was too late. The turrets gunned down the small amount of troops that I had because I wasn't prepared for a rush, and then the army that came in just flattened everything, and then this barracks was pumping out units to top it up as it went. It was actually kind of ingenious, but I hated that. I hated that little exploit of it just seemed really cheesy to have, like, base built into someone's base and build around it. It's kind of cool in a way, but I felt it was kind of cheesy, and it kind of put me off a little bit. Hey, maybe now it'd be fun. Maybe I'd be into it more, but it just seems like sweaty players on like an FPS game you can kind of understand, but in an RTS it's like a different level, and I can't be bothered. There's only like sort of one criticism I have for this game. It's just more of a mechanic, I suppose. I said about that you claim your tiles with your workers and such, right? So imagine you've claimed a bunch of territory and you've overclaimed, sort of, you can't really take hold of it. And then, your forces get pushed back and the enemy start claiming their tiles back. If they missed a single one of your tiles within their tiles, you can actually pick up your units in game and like drop them on your own tiles. So you could pick them up and drop them on the single one tile that they've missed, like any unit you've got, and start an invasion force from there. And it's not always clear on the map that that's there, or I don't know, I think it's just a bit cheesy, really. I feel like the way to solve it would just be you can only do that if it's connected to your dungeon core or like an outpost or something like that. So that, you can't just have that one square there without it being like probably pretty noticeable that people can do that. I think that would just be an easy way to solve that. But really the point I'm making this video for is because I'm kind of excited as Bright Rock Games have sort of announced that it is in the early stages of creation for the Overworld 2. They are conceptualizing it and they are starting to work on it, hopefully. So that is very nice. I'm very much looking forward to that. The game that is currently out now, the first one, I still recommend picking up, playing, have a go at it. And I know this is the cringy YouTuber thing to say, is go in the comments and let me know, but let me know how you feel about PvP, what can be done about it, because I'm sure they might want some like feedback about it, like how you guys would want it. So that might be quite nice, and it'd be nice for me because I don't really play PvP. I might give it a go, but finding games and the servers in this, they're not around unless you make them, you know, so it'd be something you play with your buddies. So yeah, for in War for the Overworld 2, there's some things I'd kind of like to see. I'm going to read off my screen here. I wouldn't mind seeing some new room types and some new monsters maybe. You don't want it to get too crowded, I suppose, but it would be nice. It'd be nice, I guess. I'm sure that's something they're thinking of. More alchemy monsters would be cool. Some more things you can spawn with alchemy maybe. And just a little refinement of the UI. It isn't bad, but it is a little, like, crammed at points. I'd like to see the when you can make groups of things, it's kind of hard always to see like what specific units in there, what level it is and stuff. I'd like to see it sort of in that Total War kind of way, where when you click on a group, you see it in the bottom with the item cards. I think that'd be quite nice. When you click on the unit screen, you do sort of get like that at the bottom, but it's not for each group, I don't think. And one other thing that really actually did kind of, I think could really be improved, is the hotkeys for selecting like your tabs at the bottom. Because it's not like set hotkey to select rituals, it's select hotkey to select position of the tab. So if you get the rituals tab finally, and it's on 4, and then you get the alchemy tab, and then that shifts it along to 5, now that hotkey button somewhere on your keyboard is for the alchemy tab now. And I think it should be per room, not per location. And I realize that could get a little confusing sometimes because there's like 10 or 12 or 14 different rituals, but it's also like the rituals are like one above each other, and on a keyboard it's like staggered. So it's a little bit hard to use a hotkey for what you want there. I think it would be a much better idea to have the hotkey linked to what you want it to click on. And I think to add to that, if you click a hotkey that doesn't exist in tiny text in the top left or something, it should come up saying, you don't have that yet, just so you know what you're clicking. Maybe even like a button you hold down, it shows what all your hotkeys do. I don't know. I'm just thinking. But yeah, give that game a good look. And also I think they've released, or they're releasing their new game, which is like Kaiju Cleanup, something like that. Maybe not my particular type of game, but I think the devs might like a shout out for that. So support that if you want to support everything they do. That's what they're currently working on. Maybe it's for you. Maybe you like Viscera Cleanup Detail, that sort of thing. Go check that out as well. Yeah, that's all I've got for you. Hope I didn't ramble too long. I often do. Clickety clickety. Bye. I should really drag out afterwards so you've got some time to clickety clickety. So I'm going to do that now. That's long enough.
It's only me, flexing my tentacles.
What?